Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Dear cadets of class 10, Assalamu alaikum. I hope you all are fine during these pandemic days. Dear boys, I would like to welcome you all to my today's online class. Earlier we have conducted two classes. There we discussed the rivers of Bangladesh and the importance of the rivers of Bangladesh. Today the topic is the natural resources of Bangladesh. As it is a lengthy topic, that's why I have divided it into two parts. Part 1 will be discussed today and another one will be discussed in the next online class. Dear boys, at first I would like to warn you about coronavirus. You know that we are going through a tough time. We don't want to be suffered by this COVID-19, and some of us have already they are affected by this COVID-19 disease. So I would like to warn you, I would like to tell you, it is my earnest request to you that please follow the instructions which has been mentioned here. And now our today's learning outcomes. After the class, we will be able to define resource, classify resources, then define natural resource, classify natural resources, explain the concept of natural resources, and lastly, the core topic, compare the natural resources, that means mineral, forest, agriculture, water, and solar of Bangladesh with several countries of South Asia, India, Myanmar, and Nepal especially. These are our today's key terms. These terms will be discussed frequently in today's lecture. Now, before going to our main topic, I would like to share some basic concept regarding that topic. Hope this will help you understand our today's core topic very easily. The goods which can meet up demand and the supply of the goods are limited, then the demand is called resources. This definition is in perspective of economics. In economics, if we want to consider anything as resource, it must have economic value. It must have its own economic value. The goods whose supply is unlimited cannot be regarded as resources. Remember one thing, to be a resource, one criteria is it must be limited. In economics, we know, or you might have read, that our supply is limited but resource is unlimited. We are to fulfill our unlimited demand or want by these limited resources. And resources can be of three types. These are natural resources, human resources, and economic resources. Human is also considered as resource, but all the human are not resource. Only the educated, skilled, economically proactive, they are considered as human resource. An economic resource, I have already mentioned, if you consider anything as resource economically, it must have economical value and it should be limited, not unlimited. Now, natural resources, in short, the resources which we get from the nature directly is called natural resources. And there have been mentioned two types of natural resources. These are renewable, the energy which can be renewed or reused, that is called renewable energy, such as solar power, wind power, water power, etc. And this power, they are never ending. We get it plenty in the nature. Then non-renewable natural resources, these are petroleum, natural gas, coal, iron, etc. These are limited in the nature, and if we use it too much, one day it will end up. Now, the concept of natural resource, the goods that are obtained by the nature are usually called the natural resources. Those are soil, soil, then water, forest, solar energy, fish, minerals, etc. Now, I would like to discuss about the classification of natural resources in detail. According to exhaustibility, we have already discussed that natural resources are of two types, renewable and non-renewable. But we can classify another way, that means according to origin, it is of two types again. Those are biotic, that means the resources which come from biosphere and have a life, such as human beings, flora and fauna, fisheries, livestock, etc. And the materials obtained from them are also considered biotic. Examples: fossil fuels, coal, petroleum, because these are formed from decayed organic matter. Then abiotic, the resources which come from non-living or non-organic material such as soil, rocks, minerals, air, water, metals, etc. Hope you have got me. Now we would go through the textbook. First of all, the natural resources of Bangladesh and several countries of South Asia. Today, we will be discussing these 5 points in detail, and we will have a comparison of these 5 points in perspective of Bangladesh as well as some countries of South Asia, that means India, Myanmar, Nepal. And to understand this easily, you have to have the idea of map of those countries. Only 3 countries are mentioned in your textbook, but in South Asia, we have as the SAARC, South Asian Regional Cooperation. It has 8 members. That means Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Nepal, Bhutan, Bangladesh, Myanmar. Myanmar is also called Burma. These 8 countries are considered as, and also Sri Lanka, 8 country. These countries are considered as the country of South Asia. And but in your textbook, only 3 of them have been mentioned except Bangladesh. The agricultural resources, the first point. The South Asian countries like India, Bangladesh and Nepal are agricultural based in nature. The farmers of these countries grow agricultural products depending on the land, nature, climate, soil and rivers. Rain and temperature of a certain degree are needed to grow these agro products. As a result, production varies in different areas. In some areas of India, the production of crops hampers either for immense cold weather or for scanty rainfall. Immense cold, it means very cold, and scanty rainfall, but that means less rainfall, lack of rainfall. Then at the bottom of the Himalayas of Nepal, crops grow very little, but in the river washed fertile zone of West Bengal of India, Bangladesh and Myanmar, paddy, wheat and other crops grow several times in a year. See, in the hilly region of Nepal or Bhutan or the region adjacent to the Himalayas, there the crop production is very less because those areas are hilly areas and the land is not fertile. That's why the production is less. But on the bank of the rivers, the regions which are situated, there the production is high because the land is very fertile. Then paddy, potato and wheat grow plenty in Bangladesh. In the eastern zone of India and in the hilly area of the northeast zone of Bangladesh, tea is being produced. We will see a map in the next slide. The production of wheat, maize, mustard, etc. are plenty too. The soil plays an important role in producing these crops. Cotton, tea, pepper, etc. are grown well. See, the soil plays an important role. Soil is the most important thing in the nature to produce anything. Whatever we eat, everything comes from soil. Have you ever think of this? Everything what we eat comes from soil. That's why soil is very important. Nowadays, we are spoiling soils. We are polluting soils, but it should not be. Soil should be pollution free and it should be cultivated in such a way so that the fertility of the soil is not hampered. See some agricultural activities in South Asian countries. This picture is from Myanmar. This is from Nepal. See, jhum cultivation has been shown here. Jhum is such a cultivation process where the people cut the hills like stairs and plant or cultivate crops on that area. And some activities, agricultural activities you can see, and this is a map where different agricultural crops and forest regions have been mentioned. See here, the colored mark indicates these regions. Then the forest-borne resources, the resources or natural resources which we collect from the forest regions. The relation between the forest and the climate is very deep. The climate of Bangladesh is different from that of the South Asian countries like India, Myanmar, and Nepal. In the hot and moist climatic zone, deep and extensive forests grow for heavy rainfall. Remember, the climate, it depends on many criteria or many things. Vegetation cover or tree cover or forest, they are one of them, because if the vegetation cover is more, then there will be rainfall. If there is no vegetation cover, rainfall is less at that area. That's why forests are very important. It reduces the temperature of the environment, and it hold or it extracts or it collects the water, rainfall water, and later on the water goes to the uh, river, canals, or to the sea. It is called surface runoff. When the uh, you have seen fountains in the hilly area, those are the, and all the year round you see the fountain, it is flowing, and this water comes from the trees which have collected those that water after rainfall in that area. In the hill tracts of Chattogram, the eastern zone of India and the northern zone of Myanmar, the evergreen forests have been developed. In chapter 4, you might have come to know that the hilly areas are there towards the southeastern part and northeastern part of Bangladesh, and that portion is the northwestern part of India and southeastern part of Myanmar. That region is hilly area, and we find evergreen forest there. And you may ask that what is evergreen forest? In short, I tell you that evergreen forests are forests where the trees of the leaves of the trees never fall down, not even in winter. You see or you experience that in winter the leaves of the trees fall down, but in evergreen forest the leaves of the trees never fall down. And we will learn in detail about the evergreen forest in the next class. See some forest borne resources, and here it is the forest map of South Asia. The green marked areas are forest areas. See, in Myanmar or the this portion, that means the northeastern part of Bangladesh, Myanmar, and these areas are mostly forest areas. Sri Lanka, there are in Sri Lanka, yeah, there is also huge amount of forest region. And you see that the people are extracting, collecting honeys from Sundarban, collecting trees, collecting golpata, and the people of coastal areas or the people who lives near forest, they directly or indirectly depend on forest for their livelihood, and their economic activities are uh, centered on that forest area. That's why it is very important. And a country should have 25% of forest area in comparison with the total areas of the country. But unfortunately, in South Asia, no country fulfills this criteria. Only Bhutan, it fulfills the criterias. Except Bhutan, other countries, they don't fulfill the criteria of 25% of total forest area, in comparison with the total area. That's why Bhutan is called the first country of the world, that means carbon negative country. Then number 3, the fisheries, another important natural resources. As there is the Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal towards the south of the South Asian countries, towards the southeastern part of India and Pakistan, there is Arab Sea, and towards the southern part of India, Bangladesh and Myanmar, there is the Bay of Bengal. That's why these countries catch huge amount of fishes every year, and many people of these countries, that means Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Myanmar, they are directly or indirectly dependent on fish resources for their livelihood. And these countries, they export these fishes towards many other countries and earn huge amount of foreign currencies. The land and the climate have a direct relation with the fisheries of a country. Bangladesh is regarded as a country of fishes for having rivers, canals, ponds, pools, marshes and fens in plenty. Here, fens means bill. In Bengali, we call it bill, such as cholon bill. Many kinds of small and big fishes are found here. The Bay of Bengal is a big source of fishes. The neighboring countries of Myanmar, India, and Nepal have sufficient fish resources. Actually, Nepal is not that much rich with fish resources, because there are some countries which are called landlocked countries, the country which are locked by land. Those are called landlocked countries, as they don't have their own seas or own water bodies, plenty of water bodies around them. Bangladesh is not a landlocked country because we have the Bay of Bengal towards the south of our country. But Nepal, they don't have this facility. They are locked by or covered by, surrounded by some other countries. That's why they are landlocked countries, Nepal, Bhutan. That's why they don't have the opportunity of fish resources. But Myanmar, India, Bangladesh, we are enriched with fish resources, as we are not landlocked. We have our own sea, or the Bay of Bengal towards the south of our country. And Bangladesh is a riverine country. We have so many rivers and rivulets in our country, and we collect different types of fish from the rivers and from the Bay of Bengal. And many of our people are largely dependent on these fish resources for their livelihood. See some photographs of fisheries or fisheries related activities in South Asian countries. And if you search fisheries of South Asian countries in the Google, you will find some other informations also. Now the mineral resources. Mineral resource is one of the main discussed or widely discussed topics in geography, but in your textbook it is discussed, or it has been discussed briefly. So I will not discuss in detail about mineral resources. If you want to learn more about the mineral resources, I would like to suggest you that go through the Geography and Environment book of class 9 Humanities. If you read that Humanities book of class 9, that means Geography book of class 9, will learn some other information, and you can search this in the Google. Various kinds of mineral resources such as gas, coal, oil, limestone have been found under the ground of hilly districts of eastern zone of Bangladesh. The demand of gas of the country can be fulfilled by collecting these resources. Natural gas has been found at the bottom of the sea. Still, there are the possibility of having many kinds of animal and mineral resources. India is a large country of the Southeast Asia. It is enriched with various mineral resources for having geological varieties. Myanmar is in an advanced stage regarding mineral resources, but Nepal is still lagging behind. See some photographs. In our subcontinent or South Asian countries, coal, mineral oil, limestone, china clay, natural gas, etc. mineral resources are available. We are not enriched in mineral resources. Only natural gas is available here, and in Bangladesh we are only self-sufficient in natural gas, but all the other mineral resources we need to import from the abroad countries. See, this is the map of gas fields or gas blocks of Bangladesh, and this map shows different mineral resources. See, here the names have been mentioned of Bangladesh. Look at it very carefully. Okay. Then the last topic, the solar energy. The sun emits rays lengthways almost throughout the whole year in the southern latitude of the equatorial zone. So Bangladesh and the other countries of the South Asia gets a huge quantity of solar energy easily for being situated in the equatorial or tropical region. In the countries of this zone, the temperature never falls down, so the people never have to stay in dark. So this is one portion, first 4 points. See, I have discussed this in chapter 3 when we discussed the topic motion of the earth. There you came to know about the seasonal variation. There I discussed that the sunlight, it doesn't fall equally all over the world. The sunlight is high towards the region from Tropic of Cancer to Tropic of Capricorn. It is called tropical region. In the tropical region, the sunlight is high, but it is gradually decreasing if you go from equator to the polar region. And in the polar region, it is very cold as the sunlight doesn't go directly in that region. And that's why there are ice in the polar regions. And as there is direct sunlight in tropical region, and as we are situated in tropical region, we have plenty of opportunity to use solar energy. And if we can ensure use of solar energy in our country, then as it is a renewable energy, so we can produce electricity and other energy from the sunlight without any cost. But the people who live in the subtropical region or in the polar region, they are to consume, they are to waste huge amount of fuel for keeping them warm. Let us see. In several countries of Europe and American continent, the sun gives rays, its rays in a slanted way. That means obliquely, not directly. Sometimes the sun cannot be seen even. And you know that when the sun is on Tropic of Capricorn, then there is uh, uh, the almost 6 months the North Pole remains dark. And again, when the sun is at Tropic of Capricorn, then the South Pole, it remains almost dark for 6 months. And that's why those regions, they don't have enough opportunity to use solar energy to produce electricity. But we are lucky enough that we are situated in the tropical region. And as those countries are far away from the sunlight or the focuses of the sunlight, they are far away. That's why the people of those countries have to spend a huge quantity of fuel to keep their residence suitable for living. And you will find fireplace or fire furnace in their houses. Those are used to keep their houses warm. The countries of our zone have not to do so. The sunlight that we get easily from the nature is a very valuable resource. We can use this solar energy through modern technology and fulfill the demand of electricity. The possibility exists that we can develop in the field of food, healthcare, and residential facilities by using the solar energy. See, solar energy is widely used in South Asian countries, and electricity is being produced, and we are not dependent on Polli Vidyut or other government electricity suppliers. We are just set up the solar panel and have the electricity. And for this, you don't need to spend so much of money. Okay, that's all for the time being. Here I have given a CQ question, sample CQ question. This type of CQ question will come on exams, and also some multiple choice questions. And then home task for you. The question is, what do you mean by natural resources? Classify them. Please upload the answer of this question in the website by tomorrow. Okay, again, I would like to conclude my lecture here to aware you again about the coronavirus disease. Please follow these instructions and keep yourselves along with your family members safe during these pandemic days. Don't get affected by coronavirus, and it is you who can ensure the safety of yourself as well as your family members. I would like to conclude my lecture here. See you in the next class. Till then, Allah Hafiz. Thank you very much.